If you want to get more clients with AI or leverage it so you have more time, you do not need to get better at prompting. You need to get better at these four things that most AI gurus aren't even talking about. And not one of them requires learning how to write code or being a tech geek. Because if you're trying to use AI without these skills, well, look, you can pay all you want for tools, and actually, you're going to end up spending more time than if you didn't use it at all. The first skill is laser focus because having too many choices and not enough time is the biggest AI trap for business owners right now. So check out this cat. It is having a ton of fun, but it is laser focused on one point. We want to be like the cat. So right now, AI is like an entire laser light show, right? There's new tools dropping every week, and every single one of them is like promising to change everything. No wonder we're all exhausted. Me too. So let's look at this another way. The problem isn't really which tool to pick. It's really what problems do you have in your business and how can we use AI to solve them? And I think what we all really need is a personal AI filter that helps us decide where we should put that laser focus. So I got pretty detailed about this in this infographic. I made this for LinkedIn. But for the top of the filter, for deciding the outcome you want to help you with, we only really need to ask these first two questions. First of all, where are the biggest bottlenecks in your business? So, is it decision making, writing, graphic design, following up, project management? This is going to be very personal and very individual, just depending on who you are and how you run your business and what kind of business you have, right? But pick one and make sure it's connected to something you actually need to get done because real matters here. You are going to be a lot more motivated to figure out a tool if there's something that actually drives you crazy that you can get relief from at the end of it. All right. And then the second question we really need to ask is AI the right solution here? So let's look at this effort versus frequency matrix for just a second. Okay. So if it's high effort, but low frequency, right? Something that would fall in this box over here. I think strategy falls into that box, right? Then it's not really something that you want to throw AI at, especially if you're just starting to integrate AI into your business. Where we really want to look for the opportunities here are the stuff that's high effort and high frequency, right? So, email and social media and finding things and organization. That's where you want to make the handoff. That's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck right now. So, here's my own example. So, I kept seeing these whiteboard style graphics on LinkedIn and I wanted to try making one. And so, I found a prompt for Nano Banana, a tool I had never touched before, and I just tried it and it got me in the app. It forced me to use it for something I actually needed, not a hypothetical, and I got what I wanted. So, look, I am not a graphic designer. Even Canva makes me want to throw my laptop up the window. So, this felt like magic, actually. So, that's the signal you're looking for. Find the thing that makes you crazy in your business, but you have to get done. And then find the AI tool that takes even a little piece of it off your plate. And then use it until you're comfortable enough with it that it just gets to be part of your everyday workflow. Okay, so skill number two is design thinking. So everyone out there is trying to teach you what to type into the AI chat. That's prompting. What I mean by design thinking is making sure that you understand and communicate the underlying problem before you type anything into AI. So when most people are chatting with AI, and I'm guessing that's how you primarily use it right now, right? They start with a question or a task. So make me an outline for a presentation on project management. And then you spend the next hour editing the output for what you actually wanted to say. And I think that's why all those people are out there trying to share or sell you their prompt libraries, right? Now, don't get me wrong, prompt literacy is super important. But when you start with a task or you ask questions without context, you get surface level results. Remember, we're dealing with a most likely word prediction machine, right? So, what's going to make a real difference is if you develop a skill around asking better questions. Let me explain design thinking with an example. Okay, so what if we had the question, in what ways might we open a bottle of wine, right? Well, if we just ask the question that way, the answer we're going to get is probably use a corkscrew. But if let's see how the question and the answers change if we think about the circumstances, right? So let's say we're a waiter, okay? We need our wine opener to be small and portable. We need to be able to walk around with it, so it needs to be able to fit in the pocket. We need to be able to open the bottle without setting it down on the table, right? And it needs to be highly reliable, so strong, right? Voila, waiter's corkscrew. But what if you just want to open a bottle of wine at home? Well, I might want something that gives me a little bit more leverage, maybe requires less hand strength, but I'm okay setting the bottle on the table, and I'm usually opening, not particularly tough corks. So then, what you might want Is this butterfly corkscrew? Or what if I want a corkscrew that's high design and low effort? And my favorite wine brand has a synthetic cork. Okay, that's when I want this monopole corkscrew. Or what if I'm looking for a high tech, highly reliable corkscrew that looks great on my counter and requires no effort on my part? How about an electronics corkscrew? My parents have one of those. How about a pretty corkscrew? I bought this one for a friend of mine who has an awesome screen porch for parties. How about a corkscrew I can take through TSA? This one doesn't have a foil cutter. Or how about just a cheap corkscrew that I can put a logo on and I can use it as marketing swag. Okay. This plastic one is the ticket, but it's not going to work with you for you if you have a tough cork. So again, if you just ask, what's the best wine opener or how do I open a bottle of wine with no context, you're not really helping the AI give you the best answer. And this is where the human skill of design thinking comes in. Because your job is to think high level, not only about the task, but about the underlying problem you're trying to solve. And this is where having depth of experience and expertise comes in handy. Because if the only thing you care about is getting to the wine quickly, what you want is to pick a wine with a screw cap. Okay, skill three, I'm calling beginner's mind. And for this one, what you want to do is channel your inner Bill Nye the science guy. So, do you remember that grade school science fair project where someone drops the Mentos into the 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke and it spews everywhere? I always kind of liked it because we got to go outside. And it also creates a huge mess. Going outside was different, so it was fun. And the surprise, that explosion, was the best. And so we have to find a way to get back to that place where it's okay to try things just to see what happens. And if something surprises you or makes a big mess, that's okay. So, no AI tool is going to save you time the first time you use it. You have to iterate and optimize. The technology is changing all the time. Look, I have a Claude project that I use to help write my YouTube scripts. And gosh, I think I update it like every 2 weeks. And as I learn more about how AI works, as I get clearer about the output that I want, I keep revising. So maybe it's been a while since you tried a new tool. That's okay. Just use AI with a tool that you're comfortable with. Like if you're an Excel geek, try Claude for Excel. If you do a lot of sales calls, try an AI note taking app, right? Try to use AI alongside something you're already familiar and comfortable with. So let me give you a personal example. I recently did an AI workshop for a warm audience. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time building a new deck. So I decided to try Gamma. Now, it was the first time I dropped my notes in there and it produced slides even remotely usable? No. But it got me into the app and it showed me what it could do. And it taught me how to modify my approach so it would go better the next time. I know what you're thinking. You don't have time for this. But here's the real question. If you don't upskill for AI, how are you going to stay current? Because it's not going anywhere. So, skill four, I'm calling identifying low hanging fruit. So, I have a lime tree in my backyard. And if I want to pick limes from my back patio, I need a fruit picker because a lot of them are out of reach. But if I walk around to the street side of my yard, I can pick them just standing there. That's what I mean by low hanging fruit: low effort, high impact. But there's a watch out here. If your goal is perfect fish tacos, you need limes. They are essential to the end product. But if you're trying to make spaghetti, but you spend all your time trying to figure out how to get more limes because they happen to be in your backyard, that is not helping you. This is something I actually see with a lot of clients. They come to me asking, how can I revise my pitch deck? And I say, well, is this pitch deck getting you clients? And they say, well, I don't know because I haven't done very many pitches. So it's highly possible the pitch deck isn't the problem. Revising it is comfortable, but it's not going to solve the problem because what the business really needs is more opportunities to pitch. Does that make sense? So when you're using that AI filter we talked about in the beginning, the one where you look at the bottlenecks and then you pick one, just be sure you're being really honest about what's going to save you real time or drive real revenue. So to start, you're looking for the biggest time savings because then you can reinvest that time in the work that creates more impact. Okay, so once you've run your stuff through your personal AI filter and you're ready to start experimenting with some tools that can create real impact for your business, these are the two videos you need to watch next.